And then this is the spider drop.
Right.
That's a little higher than I thought, actually.
Yeah, and then you're landing like right in here.
All right, I am 6 feet tall and I'm on a large. I went with the 150, 160 setup with the RockShox Ultimate Deluxe in the back, and I swapped over my DVO fork from my Revel. You can also get this with a Vivid in the back and a Zeb in the front, so you can bump it to 170. One thing I noticed after my first ride was my sag was way off. Evil makes a sag meter for the outside of the shock because it's really hard to see the sag ring with their linkage design. So I had that way off. Even after getting the sag set up where it's recommended at like 30%, still having a little bit of problems getting it set up. So I have it set at the recommended sag of 30%, or I did, and I'm still blowing through all the travel in the rear. So this is my second ride at around 27% sag, and it feels like it might be a little too stiff and still kind of bottoming out. So a lot of people are recommending a volume spacer or two. So I just ordered a couple. Hopefully that'll solve the issue. All right, so we are on, I think, what is the biggest climb, or one of the biggest climbs at Nam. And I would say this bike climbs really well. I will give Revel the advantage on technical climbing. It just seems like that suspension system, the Canfield system, has a little more traction, where Evil seems to be a little more poppy. And I realized that on a couple of practice jumps recently, where I really found out the more you give it, the more it gives back as far as pop goes. So the more that you pop, it's really receptive, where Revel does have that to an extent, but the traction for Revel is really strong. So, and the reason I wanted to go with an Evil this time is because, one, I've always wanted an Evil, and two, Revel's not making a bike in that 150, 160 range anymore, unfortunately. So the Rascal was probably one of my favorite bikes of all time, but the 130 travel in the back was a little dicey on some of the bigger stuff, you know. So I was finding myself not reaching for it as much as I used to, but so fun. I could see where if you lived in an area that had like flow and like a lot of dirt and loam, the Rascal would be unbelievable. But we live in an area with like big rock features, granite, you know, granite rollers, drops, big drops, and a lot of tech. The Rascal is great at tech, especially the slow speed tech. But once you got into some of the bigger jumps and like big drops, started to make me nervous. But man, did I love that bike. So we're at the top of the climb now, headed over to some of the fun stuff over in Nemba Square. But look at the rear shock travel, if you can see it. I haven't hit anything big at all, and it looks like it's almost all the way to the end. So that's concerning a little bit. I only weigh 175 pounds. I've never had a bike or a shock or any suspension go through all the travel that easy. But I don't really feel it, so I don't know if I should be concerned or not. I guess we'll go hit some bigger stuff today and see what happens. All right, so we'll hit this roller, see how it feels. All right. So we'll hit a couple of these practice drops, some of these jumps, and see how the suspension feels, see how the bike feels in general. So the new wooden tabletops over here are pretty fun. I really overshot the second one big time last week. So let's see how it goes. Like I said, I'm still trying to get used to this suspension. I need to give it a little more than that. All right, I didn't get any pop on that. Too afraid of overshooting like I did the other day. Need a little bit more. All right, here we go. There it is. Yeah, buddy. Perfect. Now I'm feeling good. All right. So with this bike, you just have to push into it a little bit and you get pop. Those felt good. All right, so to the 6-foot drop. Yeah, all right. Let's see. Where did the suspension land? All right.
Better?
A little getting there.
There you go.
So the bike feels really good. Maybe I shouldn't be concerned with how far the sag ring is traveling. You know, it doesn't feel harsh. It worries me a little bit that on a 6-foot drop with a good transition, I'm using all my travel. All right, so I'll hit the F16 B line. I'm not going super big today because I'm alone and I'm on a new bike, but this is a pretty decent sized drop. It should give you an idea of how the suspension feels in general, I think. Yo, all right, let's see. That felt pretty good. Let's see what the suspension looks like. And the suspension hasn't really moved from there. Well, maybe I found it. Maybe I found a sweet spot. All right, let's see. Little fun section here. Pretty crazy roller. Here we go. All right, felt good. All right, let's see how we do on some tech. Just met up with, Rogie, and we are on this tech line here. And I gotta remember where it is. There we go. And I think there's a roller around here. And here it is. All right, let's take a look at the suspension real quick. It still doesn't move. I don't know. All All right, so now we are in some chunk. We'll see how it feels. All right, let's do it. Holy shit. I might need that multi-tool again. My grip just twisted in the air all the way around.
Like, okay,
oh my God. Yep, new bike.
Another drop.
Oh, really?
It's smaller.
Up and over that thing?
Yeah, you go up and over that, and then you kind of, it's smaller. But you come in at an angle, it's kind of weird.
Should I just follow you then, maybe?
So yeah, I would follow, and then, you know, if
I'll follow you.
If you feel like doing it, it's kind of, and then there's a jump after it, but it's kind of hard.
Okay.
If you haven't, like, because you have to land and you have to be in like a high gear.
Okay.
That you can pedal.
Yep. Okay.
Cool NOM feature that.
Yeah, NOM makes everything just a little bit harder, right? All right, so this will be a good test for the suspension setup. Getting a toe off the snake head drop. Yeah, that felt great. Suspension felt good. I don't know what that, oh yeah, all right. Oh yeah, I definitely would have hit that. I'm gonna back up and do that. Hitting some new stuff at NOM. Oh shit, no, I did not know what that was. Yeah, I was gonna pull and then I was like.
You have to like know it's there.
Yeah, that's not something I should hit blind.
So when you're coming into that drop, you get your gear so you're in a really high gear.
Got it.
And a couple pedals.
I could see, so you clear that pretty easy?
Yeah, you can clear it.
Hell yeah.
You gotta hit it like, you know. Like,
yeah, I came up on it, it was blind and I was like, ah. Holy, you just disappeared out of nowhere, man. Oh, that's cool. This is spider drop?
Spider drop, that was snake dead.
And then what do you just drop right off?
So you come down it and then you turn at the end.
Yeah.
You can kind of see where it's worn out.
Let me take a look at that. This is the spider drop?
Yeah, and then right when you're about there, you turn.
So it's right here.
And you can see it's actually not that far. And it's got a nice landing, you know?
That's cool.
So all you're doing is rolling on.
My bike review turned into a nice little old school tour video. I've never done this roller. Whoa! That's a sick roller. Wow. And then this is the spider drop.
Right.
That's a little higher than I thought, actually.
Yeah, and then you're landing like right in here.
Yep. Wow, all right. Cool, man. Thank you. Awesome, man. Great ride. Awesome bumping into you. I appreciate it. Thanks for showing me some of that stuff, too. And let's see how the Evil did. Yeah, I don't know, man. It doesn't go any further than that, no matter what I hit, so maybe I'm okay. Yeah, it's funny because they had because of the linkage, you can't see the sag ring, and they give you this like sag meter that's completely wrong. So the first time I rode it, I was like, why is the travel on that stuff? Then I had to like actually look at the ring and then start dialing it in.
Nice bike.
Thank you. Yeah. What's that? Evil.
Oh, okay.
Evil offering. That's the new V4. Yeah, trying to get the suspension dialed in, but today's ride was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All right. That was a good day. Bumped into a great guy that showed me some fun features that helped me try my suspension out. All right, I think the takeaway is maybe I shouldn't be worried too much about where the sag ring lands at the end of a ride, but really more of how it feels. I was worried I was gonna bottom out and it was gonna be harsh, but I hit some pretty big stuff today and everything was fine. So, yeah.
You know what I do a
Not really first ride impressions, more of like a third ride impression, but I'm really liking this bike. It's a lot of fun.